Don't stop.
Hi, thanks so much for joining me in the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. I'm Zach Brandos-Freeman, your host. And before I get into this guest that I adore so much, she is a returning guest. Love her as a person. She is just so amazing, and I will talk about her in a minute. But before I do, I wanted to tell you some funny things that have been happening. So this is one thing that happened today. So I wake up like at 9:30 this morning. I'm laying in bed. I let my kitty cat in my bedroom. She comes and lays with me. I'm sitting there petting her. I have a electric blanket on, and she loves the electric blanket. And so we're sitting there, and I'm just kind of thinking about what do I need to do today. I had to go to a doctor's appointment today because my shoulder's been bothering me for 3 months. And finally I'm like, okay, let me just go see what's wrong with it. And it's actually kind of nothing. I just have to do some physical therapy for a few weeks, but it's like nothing, thank God. And so then I'm like, well, I need to record a podcast. I have a podcast interview I need to do later this afternoon. I have dinner tonight and drinks tonight with friends. I'm just kind of thinking. Then I started thinking about, who do I have coming up for guests that I'm going to interview? And so I look at my calendar and I'm thinking, okay, I don't really feel like I have enough people scheduled, even though I have plenty. But I should start thinking of new guests. And who would be somebody that I would love to interview? And not like A-list celebrities. Like Madonna, of course, is on top of my list to interview. And she has a new album coming out, so maybe that will happen, but not counting on it. But I basically was thinking of just like people that I think would be interesting. And I was kind of like my mind was racing and thinking of people. One person I thought of was Rupert Everett, who was a star. He did a movie with Madonna actually back in the 90s. But he's in a lot. He hasn't done a lot lately, or I don't think he has. But I think he would be interesting because I used to follow him, and I think he'd be really interesting to just talk to for 45 minutes or an hour on my podcast. So I'm going to reach out to him. Then I had another person that I can't think of who it was. I wrote it downstairs, and it's on a piece of paper on my nightstand downstairs. But the other person I thought of, and I don't know why I thought of this person, I have no idea, is I wanted to interview Maureen McCormick, who played Marsha Brady in the Brady Bunch. I think I do know why I thought of her, because I was on YouTube and I think she was on Howard Stern. They were playing a clip of her, but I think that was like a month and a half ago when I seen this clip. And for some reason, it just came into my mind, like, I should reach out to Marsha Brady to see if she'd want to come on, because she, gay guys love Brady Bunch. I mean, I don't know. I guess everybody loves the Brady Bunch from my generation. But it would be interesting to see what she's up to. I mean, she's probably got to be in her late 50s. She was older than me, so maybe she's even in her early 60s. I'll have to Google to see how old she is. But when I seen her on the Howard Stern clip, she looked fantastic. But I don't know how old that clip was. But yeah, I thought about her. And so here's the weird part. My husband sends me... No, did he send it to me or did he say it to me? He said it to me. Oh, do you know Eve Plum? I'm like, oh, Jan Brady? He goes, yeah. He goes, she just came out with a book. And he sent me a text saying, here's the contact information for a publisher. You should reach out to them and see if she wants to come on your show. Literally, like an hour and a half after I thought about Marsha Brady. Didn't tell him I thought about Marsha Brady. I think things like that are so weird. Like we were on the same wavelength, kind of, both. Like, who thinks about the Brady Bunch like that? Like, two different Brady Bunch things come up. Like, why did I think about the Brady Bunch this morning? Marsha Brady, interviewing her, but then it's really Eve Plum that has a book out. It's all like we're all just one big energy cycle, I think. So one big energy field. So I told him about them. I'm like, don't you think that's weird? And of course he's like, yeah, I guess so. Like, he doesn't. I also said, don't you think like the quarters that your mom is leaving around are weird? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know. He believes in this stuff in some ways, I guess, but I should really ask him, like, do you believe when I'm taking these psychic medium classes, do you believe that I'm talking to people Do you believe when I'm taking these tarot card classes and I'm actually like able to understand the tarot cards now? Like, I haven't asked him this in a long time. Because one time I asked him this, you would think after 27 and a half years, I'd ask him, like, what do you believe about religion? Like, do you believe there is a God? Which I don't think he does. But like, what do you think happens to us when we die? Do you think we're reincarnated? And I'll just say my husband does not listen to my podcast. And it really bothered me at first, but I have a podcast advisor and he's like, be happy he doesn't listen to it, because if he listened to it, he would give you tips and comments and tell you things to do. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need his tips and comments, because he does. Sometimes he's like, oh, you should do this. And this is what I tell him now. You start your own podcast. There's a whole studio upstairs. Start your own podcast. I'll show you how to do it. And you can take all your little ideas and make them and put them out there to the world. I'll show you how to promote it. I'll show you how to get guests. Everything you want to do, I'll show you how to do. So take your comments. But yeah, that's 27 and a half years of being together, and I love him. And yeah, I don't take a lot of his advice, and I don't ask him to listen to my podcast because I don't need his advice, because I don't. He gives me enough advice for everything else. Anyway, my guest today is Kelly O'Hearn, and she has written 2 books. She's coming out with her 3rd book. And she discovered tarot cards. I think she was 52, she said. So first of all, when she's like, I discovered tarot cards when I was 52, I'm like, okay, are you even 52? Because this woman looks amazing. Like, she is beautiful. I did my first interview with her and I got comments like, oh, you interviewed Heather Locklear, like when Heather Locklear was young, because Kelly is so beautiful and her personality is so beautiful. And I have such a connection with her for some reason, and I don't know what it is, but she's just so real and her energy is so positive. And she gave me a tarot reading offline, like after we did the interview, and she was so right on, like with everything she said. And she does a monthly tarot reading on her TikTok, and I'll put her TikTok, her TikTok, her Instagram in the description of this podcast or video, because every month she does it for each sign. I'm an Aries, and she gets it exactly right every month. Like when she's saying it, I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly where I'm at. And I know that people think like horoscopes can like kind of go, they always go, they could be exactly right, pinpointed towards you because like how they're written. But no, she's pulling cards and she's saying things, and the things she says are so accurate and so pinpointed. She knows she knows how to read tarot cards so well. She has a special gift, and her and I talk about that special gift and when she got it. And, she's a mom and stumbled upon tarot cards in a shop that she was in. And it happened, and she kept it a secret for years from her friends and family. And now this is what she does full time. And she has channeled 4 books during COVID. And this is the 3rd one's coming out on June the 9th. So I will have a link. She's doing all her new book, plus her other 2 books are already available on Amazon. I have them. I bought them. My husband stole them from me. My father-in-law then took them from my husband. And I finally got them back last weekend. And I'm going to start over reading, because I started reading the first book when my husband took them. I'm going to start them over and read the first 2 books and be ready for the 3rd one on June 9th when it comes out. I'm so excited for her. And from what I have read from the first book already, the first couple of chapters, it's amazing. It's an easy read. It's great. She channeled all this herself, which I think it makes it so interesting. And Kelly is amazing. So follow her on Instagram, buy her books, go to the link in this video or this podcast, however you're hearing this or watching this. I think you should get the first 2 books first so you know the whole story, even though she says you don't have to, but it's kind of following these people in this timeline. So I'm so excited for Kelly. She's got 1 more coming after this. I hope they make these books into a movie. I hope these go to the next level of success for her, because she deserves everything positive that will come her way. So thanks so much for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow with a new guest. Enjoy Kelly. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me in the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. I have a returning guest who I absolutely adore. I am so happy that she wanted to come back on. She is in the top 5 of my favorite guests that I've had, and I've done over 200 episodes. And I just am so happy we're connected and we're both on the same kind of path of growth right now. And welcome back, Kelly.
Oh, Zach, thank you. I've been looking forward to this for so long.
So we're going to talk about, you have a new book coming out. We're going to talk about that. But I wanted to give you an update on how you inspired me to do something.
Huh?
So Kelly and I did our interview, I don't know, 6-9 months ago. I don't even know. It was a while. And so Kelly has 2 books out that she wrote, and she used them with her tarot. She's a tarot card. Me and Kelly had one of the best conversations. Again, this is why she was one of my top 5 favorite guests, because our conversation was like 2 friends talking, and I didn't even whatever. I don't even remember that I'm on the podcast talking. That's when I know it's a good podcast, because I forgot that we were even talking to like people, like we were recording this. I felt like we were just talking as friends.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, Kelly was kind enough to give me a reading, and she did a reading with me. And even before that, I was, doing mediumship classes and psychic classes and stuff. And I was kind of into all this. And again, this podcast has kind of opened my mind up about these things, because maybe before I was like, oh yeah, maybe a psychic is real. Maybe a mediumship is real. Maybe tarot cards are real. I didn't really understand tarot at all. But your reading was so spot on that you gave me. And then you do this monthly reading for like Aries and for all the different signs. And every single time, it's not just like, oh yeah, I could see how that makes sense. It's like a perfect fit on what's happening in my life every time.
Oh
every
my
month
God.
You do it. So I ended up taking a tarot card class with this woman who I think is amazing. Her name is Amaris. She's in Canada, and she does an online class, 6 weeks of it for about 2.5 hours. Every Monday I was doing it. I have one more left to do. And she was just, I get it now. Like, I get tarot. It's not just like you look at the card, okay, this means one thing only.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have to kind of read what that means to you. And like the whole thing, like what's the feeling? Because there were 6 people in my class, and we would all kind of like pick 3 cards at the beginning of class. And at the end of the class, we'd kind of like read each other's cards. And everybody had something different. And I got pretty much like every person that I would say, this is what I think this means, or like that's exactly what's happening in my life.
Well done, isn't it? Oh my God, I love that.
It's so crazy. And then there was this other woman that was in the class that everything that she said, her name was Lillian. Everything that she said, like, she was so spot on. And she got detailed about, there's something you're worried about with your job, and you don't have to worry about that. Like, what you're doing now is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, she would get really like, she had no idea I was leaving a corporate job to do podcasting full time. And so It was just, I don't know, just opened up my eyes. And like, whenever we did the tarot card, I'm like, I got to learn how to do this. I got to understand it more is really what I wanted to do. So.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy. It really is an extraordinary divination tool. But like you said, I mean, tarot is a language, as I really, really adhere to that. But unlike human, like English or French, where the words have such a specific definition, perhaps 2, right? As I always use the word blue. I feel blue, or the sky is blue. 2 concrete definitions. Tarot does have, they have meaning, but they're not really locked in. It's always going to give you kind of where you're heading, their themes and everything like that. But the other cards make it matter, and your own intuition makes it matter.
Yeah.
So it's so nuanced in a way, and that's why it's really important to do what you're doing. And if you're interested in it, is take a class, learn the meanings of the cards, practice your intuition, especially with a group. 6 is a perfect size. And then just practice, because all of a sudden your friend or classmate Lillian sounds like she came in with some advanced intuitive exercising, like her intuitive muscle was clearly more evolved. Like, think about it. Someone who's been lifting weights for 2 years longer than me is going to have a more precise muscle than I will have. It's the same thing with intuition, but it's such a fun thing to know. And it opens up an entirely new side of ourselves, not Not that you're going to be like hearing voices all the time or seeing burning bushes or, like it's not weird. It's just a natural part of us, as normal as the mind that thinks, the body that moves, and the heart that feels.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Yeah, it all just connected with me. There's a part 2 that you can take a class to kind of go more into details about it. Not even details, like I guess it is more details. So I think I'm going to do that. I just don't want to do it in the summer because you have to give up like a full night every week for 6 weeks. And so like the summer's coming, I'm like, I don't want to do that because I don't know what's happening.
I agree. And just play with them through the summer.
Yeah, I totally.
Take a deck out every once in a while and throw some cards or, for friends, whatever.
And I have a friend, Mark, that's been doing tarot card, like he's a nurse, like in the day. But he does tarot card readings like on the side just for friends and stuff. Perfect. So him and I are going to like talk about it. Like just
awesome.
It's
that's super helpful.
One of the things that we talked about last time really kind of stuck with me when you were talking about, you had this story about your dad and the lights. Do you remember that story?
My dad and the lights?
Yeah. There was something you said about your dad with lights or something.
The lights flickering kind of thing?
Yes, the lights flickering.
Yes.
So I wanted to because I've had things like that happen to me, as I kind of said last time, but even more things have been happening now because my mother-in-law has passed away and there's been things that have been happening. So I wanted to ask you about that because we just had my father-in-law's 85th birthday. And my mother-in-law, she passed away in November. And almost immediately, I started seeing signs from her.
Yeah.
And I told the family at this dinner this past weekend about them. And they all they weren't freaked out by it or anything. Because when my mother-in-law's mother died, everybody started seeing ladybugs. And now anytime anybody sees a ladybug, they'll take a picture of it and send it to the group family chat or whatever. So for my mother-in-law, what's happened is that she is putting quarters everywhere, which is so bizarre. And so I came into my house one day after she passed away, and there was a quarter sitting on the stairs. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like I never carry cash, let alone change.
Sure.
Then I come up to my studio, and I'm sitting here, and there's a quarter sitting in the middle of my desk.
Oh my gosh.
Then 2 days later, I'm walking outside in the driveway, and there's a quarter laying in the driveway.
Zach.
I'm walking to get my hair cut, and as I'm walking on this path that I take, is about a 3-mile walk, there's a quarter laying on the path, all within like a week.
Oh my gosh.
And I could just I felt it was her. So my question to you is do you think when things like this happen, do you think it's an actual sign? Do you think it's a coincidence? Do you think it's it's her if I think it's her, or could it just be anything?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in coincidence. And I do think the primary thing here that everyone has to really understand is the truth of it is what resonates within you. You know it's her.
Yeah, I do.
You don't have to think it's her because you know it.
Yeah.
Right? So it is.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is that the human mind tries to put logic on it.
Yes.
And that's okay. That's our humanity. I mean, I love my capacity for logic. However, this is where the whole word faith has to come in. You don't want to try to necessarily explain what's happening. How is it happening? Is it really happening? This is just accept it and allow it to be her. Yeah. Because doesn't that fill your heart with joy?
Oh, it does. Yeah. Yes,
I mean,
totally.
And so, first of all, why wouldn't you want anything that filled your heart with joy? And I can tell you something, having lost both of my parents now, as well as other people in my life since we spoke, I know that there are signs and that they, like the ladybug in your family.
Yeah.
I know when my parents are coming to me, they each have what is called a spirit animal type thing. And it's been confirmed in the craziest ways. So yeah, it's not logical, right? And there's part of me still, even given what I do, that I'm like, I must be crazy. But it's just so right. And it's just so right. And it feels so good. And it's so comforting. And yeah, I love it.
And we'll be right back. Okay, and now back to the show. And I think that I've also kind of learned from this class and just from you and from other people that I've interviewed. I think people look at like tarot card reading as like almost like a party tool in a way. And it's so much more. It's really, I mean, it's helping people, I think, heal in some ways and just kind of process what's happening in their life and
Mhm.
kind of like, I don't know, like just the people in that class I was taking, there was a woman she didn't say it, but she was clearly in some type of toxic relationship.
That-
And what the cards she pulled or we pulled for her was all telling her what she needed to do. And she goes, that's exactly what I thought I should do. And it's just so refreshing that it's like, this is like a tool to help people. And I don't think people understand that.
No, they don't. And you have to understand something. I'm going to go into a bit of quantum physics right now. Everything in our life is a reflection and a mirror to where our energy is.
Mm-hmm.
What is the vibration, the frequency we're putting out into the field? So even though we are living life with others, loving others, struggling with others, communing with others, and situations, experiences, people, all the things, each one of those things are really only a reflection of us.
Mm-hmm.
The tarot is so possible because it gives you insight into where your energy is in relationship to what is going on in your life. Now, we want to think that logic, going back to that word, wants to think it's because of the other person. It's because of the corporate job. It's because of the death of a loved one. But it really, the power and the capacity to really not control, but to influence outcome all lies with us.
Yeah.
So the tarot as a tool is insight into our energy, our vibration. That's why I don't believe in predicting the future. The reason I'm so good and most of my clients tell me, oh my God, everything you said was right. It's not because I predict the future, not even close. I make my clients an energetic match for the results they want.
Yeah.
So those results come into their life. So tarot is one of a few, there are more than a few, but divination tools to understand where your vibration is. Because it's hard. Our vibration and our frequency is a blind spot for us.
Yeah.
So unless we have a really intuitive friend or we have a really trusted tool, it's hard for us to see, like that classmate of yours who perhaps was in that toxic situation. It was so nice for her to get the confirmation of what she thought, because it's so hard for her to see it for herself.
Yeah, she was like almost going to break down at one point because we were so accurate in what she needed to hear.
Yeah.
Not knowing her at all, because we don't know anything about her other than she's been in this class with us at that point for 3 weeks, and it's not like we're all talking that much. We're kind of like listening and interacting a little bit, but we know, but these people are all over the world. I mean, all over the country and Canada. So it's not like we know her. And
right.
For us to be that accurate on giving her, she didn't even say she was in a toxic relationship.
No.
We just kind of came up with, this is what we think's happening, and this is where you need to do.
Wow.
She's like, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, it's so powerful.
It is. So it's kind of crazy. It's also funny that the whole religion thing that I think is kind of how people feel like if you're doing anything like this, you're against religion and all this other stuff. I mean, it's just like they're going to cast the demons out of you almost in some ways. Like when people come to you, do you get that reaction from people ever online or from people that you've met?
Most people that come to me as clients for my tarot work are willing to embrace what I'm going to do despite their religious beliefs. And some people do have very, very, they adhere to a very strong religious faith, which I think is beautiful. It's great. Online is a different story. Ever since I started doing free tarot readings on my Instagram and Facebook pages, I've received, I'll tell you though, Zach, I've only received 2 negative comments in all the content I've done.
That's amazing.
That's it. I mean, my audience could not be more gracious and supportive and understanding. And the comment one was, this is the devil's work, blah, 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 blah. So I replied, then why did you watch it?
Yeah.
I was like, that's fine. If you're allowed to think that, that's totally okay. But, why did you even watch it long enough to make a comment? It confused me.
Yeah.
And then the other one was more based just in doubt, not in accusation, which I get because like you said, tarot historically, It's a carnival trick, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's a party trick. It's the way it's been portrayed in film. It's associated with that type of culture. So I understand that. And as we've talked about before, like that was a real hindrance to me admitting to people that I had been studying the tarot and I knew tarot. I was worried about judgment. I was worried about, ridicule.
Yeah.
But it really has grown and a lot of acceptance globally. There's this just whole wave of enlightenment happening globally, and people, they're in pain. And the typical, avenues of only therapy or only trying to control their bodies and things like that, it's not working. So people are turning to energy, however that is, an astrologer, a psychic, a tarot card reader, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I feel like that I have this conversation with so many people that I have on my show about there's something changing in the world.
Yeah.
And we all are starting to feel it. And people are opening their minds up to what that could be. And I mean, I feel like something is going to happen really, like something big is going to happen soon in a positive way. I don't know what it is, obviously, but I don't know. I had an interview yesterday with this guy who was so amazing. He does energy healing. And he talks about all the trapped energy, negative energy that you could have. And he has written 3 books about how to get rid of that and teaches people to do that. And he also was just kind of talking about, and I don't know, we don't know if it's like social media. That's why we all are, like everybody's communicating more on social media or online and stuff. And we're starting to that. If that's why everybody's having these same feelings, or if it's just a feeling. Because I mean, the people I talk to have the same feeling I do.
Well, it's also the planet. You do know that the planet's vibrational field is shifting.
Yes, I've heard. Yeah. I've read that.
So, I mean, think about it. No life would exist without Gaia, without Earth.
Yeah.
So you have the very ground we walk now. Unfortunately, most of us walk on rubber soles, so we're disconnected from the planet all the time. But when you do walk barefoot at the beach, or you're just out in your lawn, or you make an intentional act to go ground intentionally, the electromagnetic field that is grounding you is changing. So the electromagnetic field in our bodies is going to evolve along with that.
Yeah.
And it's moving. I mean, even astrologically, we're moving into the age of the feminine. And out of this centuries long millennia of masculine dominant energy. Now, it's not about man and woman.
Yeah.
So what is the feminine? The feminine is our intuition. The feminine is that nuanced just sense of knowing. It is that trust in creation. I'm a woman. I have 2 children. Never once during the course, from the time I found out I was pregnant to the time I gave birth, did I have to force anything to happen. I didn't have to say, okay, today I'm going to build toes. Like, right? Never had to happen. Yeah. I just knew that a power outside of me, co-creating through me, was happening. That's feminine energy in the easiest way for me to describe it.
Yeah.
And that's where we're heading. So it's going to be impossible for the majority of people to deny the rise of their intuitive side.
Yeah.
However that comes through. It could be, remember, it's your hunch, it's your gut instinct. You don't have to use the word intuition if you don't want to. You don't have to use the word channel if you don't want to. That's just language, but it's all the same.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think people are just more accepting of things, and, not to get into the whole religion thing too much, but I do think that maybe people are realizing that maybe the whole religion thing isn't everything that they thought it was when they were growing up and being taught these things. I mean, again, if somebody wants to be any religion they want, I don't judge that at all.
Right.
But I do think people are opening their minds and realizing, okay, it's not just about what I was taught when I was growing up as a Catholic or as whatever. So it's
correct.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, no, because I mean, I think people are really especially with other areas of the world that have had a spotlight shown on it, not just outside, just outside of religion specifically, but it helps you really learn to decipher and understand, okay, everything I was taught to believe, that's a man-made written
yes
statement.
Yeah.
And okay, so man, by the very definition, we're faulty. Like we fault. We make mistakes. So I think people are really starting to connect the dots. And what I do like is while they may not want to adhere as strictly to their religious doctrine, they are still holding on to their faith.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I think that's why even religious adherents are rising in their energy as well.
Yeah.
Because our energetic body, our soul, our eternal self, our higher self, whatever you want to call it, that is the direct connection to the God source. Call it God, call it source, call it the universe, call it the creator. I call it consciousness.
Yeah.
So that is a universal fact. And I just think I see a lot of my clients that are very religious, go to, the whole thing. Their faith is rock solid, but they're questioning what some of the things they were taught to believe.
Yeah.
I'm a sinner. I was born in mortal sin.
Yeah.
Harsh. I mean, talk about shame right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. And I was raised Catholic, so I understand what that is. And that's fine. I mean, there's so many things about the Catholic faith that I adore. There's so much beauty. There's so much richness.
Yeah.
But people are starting to just question that messaging.
And we'll be right back. Okay, and now back to the show. When did things start to change for you where you really figured out who you were in your life? Meaning you knew the tarot, doing this, being an author, all this. When was that moment where something shifted for you where you this is the path I got to go down?
So I started to change my relationship with God when I got pregnant. I never wanted children.
Oh.
I didn't. I mean, it wasn't because I don't love children. I adore children. I couldn't wrap my head around how to fit them into my life. Yeah. And I think that's quite common with a lot of adults. Yeah.
Totally.
I didn't have my first child till I was 35. So, I was fairly entrenched in my adulthood. Well, I got pregnant on birth control. And that entire experience and what, subsequently happened in order to really make me a mother was so divinely guided. It made me question everything I knew about destiny, fate, God. So fast forward, I'm building this new relationship with God, still going to church, but in a very different, I guess, communication style with God. And then my dark night of the soul happened when I got sick in 2012. And that ignited, again, another sacred, destined sequence of events. Brutal. But I had to heal my body, which I did. I had to then realize through healing my body, I realized I could no longer be married to my husband.
Oh, that was a big change then.
Yeah. And then my father was dying. I found out he was dying. So all of these foundational truths that really make us feel safe, especially masculine energy, father, husband, I had to say goodbye to. I mean, my dad died and my divorce was finalized within 3 months of each other. It was a lot. But during that time, I discovered tarot. I discovered tarot in 2014. First time I'd ever tried it.
Did you ever get a reading from anybody before that?
Nope. Never.
Really?
Never. I'd heard about it. I'd read about it in books. I'd seen it on movies. I'd never had a reading. Yeah.
That isn't... Wow. I love that story because okay. So, and how did you discover it?
I was in a store buying a crystal. I'm sitting in my home. I'm looking at 12 crystals. I'm a bit of I love them. And I needed something grounding that I could just hold on to and have in my bag walking around because I was really in a free fall. I was really very in that, seriously a dark night of the soul. Yeah. And there was a tarot card reader in this store. And I asked the owner, I was like, okay, explain this to me. What's the draw? Why? And so he explained to me, tarot's a language, and he walked me through it all. And he took me to the section in his store where he sold decks, tarot decks. And he must have had 40 on his wall. And he's like, yeah, it comes with a book and it's a language and you learn the language and it's a language between you and you. And it hit all of the things in that moment that I just knew in that moment I had to buy a deck. And I'm sitting at my tarot table. This is the first deck I ever bought.
Wow.
the Morgan Greer Tarot. And I studied with this deck by myself through online resources. And I voraciously read book after book after book for 3.5 years. And I told nobody. Nobody knew.
Because were you embarrassed about it a little bit, thinking they would judge you?
I was embarrassed. I was nervous of judgment for sure. But I also needed this as a way to just escape what was happening.
Yeah.
So much was going on in my life, so much change and upheaval. This was a great little 1 hour, just don't think about anything else, right? Plus, as you know, I mean, you've taken a 6-week course. You start to heal things you don't even know you need to heal.
Yeah.
As you start working with the tarot, it builds a confidence inside you. It builds a trust in your own being and in your own capacity. Mm-hmm. So it was an incredible relationship that I started to build with myself during this time. And when I finally told a friend of mine, was the first person I told, and she was like, oh my God, give me a reading, as people like to do.
Of course.
Which is a joy. I love sharing tarot. I found out, like you, oh my God, this actually works for others, right? It was one thing to do it for yourself, but when it works for others, it's like, oh my God. And that's how I came to become a tarot card reader. And it's funny that you'll love this story. So I come from New York City. I was raised, what people might call a privileged life. And that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
And, but both my parents were business people, Wall Street, the whole thing. And you don't do tarot in my family. That's not kind of why they educated me in their mind. So my father was already had passed on, and my mother was a bit of an intimidating, strong woman. And I had to finally tell my mother. She was the last person I told because she scared me. Yeah. So I was having lunch with her, and she was like, so what's new, honey? And I was like, well, I have to tell you something. I started reading tarot, and I'm actually apparently really good at it. First thing out of her mouth, Zach, that's wonderful, honey. Tell me you're monetizing it. First words.
And were you at that point monetizing it?
No, I was just doing it for free for friends. It was fun. It was, I never once thought I could make a business out of this. And it was something not only about my mother's business acumen that I trusted, but getting her permission that allowed me to start the process of researching how to run a business based on this. Yeah. I'm good at business, but this was a different prospect. How do I charge for this? How do I legitimize that? And that's what led me to my past life regression, because I decided to try. I hired a psychic, I hired an astrologer, I hired a numerologist, I did Reiki, and I did hire this past life regressionist, not because I was seeking anything. I wanted to see how they ran their business. Mm-hmm. How do they do their sessions? How do they collect money? What do they charge? All the things. But it was that past life regression in 2017 that led to the Arcanum series.
Wow.
So look how it all comes together, right? One part of my world is completely collapsing, and it's devastating and sad and so much grief. But then there's this birth, like a phoenix, of coming out of it. It's amazing.
And I know you said your mom has passed now, but what did she think about this entire thing that you did once you did monetize it and figure it out?
There was no one who shared my work more than my mother. She had her friends getting readings. She actually tried it, which I was very proud of her for. And that surprised me, but it was a delight for her just to understand it. She told everybody.
That's amazing.
It was adorable. And it was
almost like when a kid comes out and say they're gay, their parents are like, yep, I accept it. And I want to tell everybody.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if all of your audience saw it, but you did an episode where you told a story about you and your dad.
Yes.
I was so moved by that story, but it's a similar, it can bring you closer in the end, this vulnerability of who we really are. And just here I am, please be kind. And and it brought me and my mom closer in the end.
That's amazing. I love that. That is so great.
I know, it still makes me laugh.
I mean, because the reason I love it is just because you thought she was going to be like, this is stupid or whatever you thought she was going to say, like, this isn't real or whatever. And she was like, make money on it. And that's what you did. That's what you have a third book coming out because of this. I mean,
it's all related. It's all related. Yeah. And before she died, I had already channeled the whole book and I was writing book 1. So she got to be a part of that whole process, helping me name the characters, things like that. So she was just tickled pink.
That's amazing.
I know.
And whenever you did your like past life regression, did anything that you're kind of doing today kind of show up in the past?
No, well, I was often an oracle and a mystic.
Yeah.
But I was always kind of, I always belonged to a man, a very powerful man. Like in this life, I'm in charge of my own business. I'm in charge of my own life. But in all my past lives, I was like the slave or the chattel of a king or a pharaoh, like book 1. And so my gifts were always for the service of someone else's benefit.
Yeah. Do you think that we choose all this before we come into our new life? Like, do you think you're choosing all of what you're doing?
I do. I think 2 things are true. Now, to answer your question, I think we choose the lessons and the themes, the co-creator souls that we want to share the journey with in specific roles that we would like to achieve in a lifetime. However, because we have free will and because we have eternity, it doesn't mean we will succeed in those lessons and themes. So I think life will present us opportunities and situations and people to really move us in the direction of healing some deep karma or energetic lessons that we need to heal for our soul's expansion, growth, and evolution. But it doesn't mean we're going to actually do it. And that's okay. We got nothing but time. So we can come back again and again and again. So I think both are true. Just because we have a plan for a lifetime doesn't mean we actualize the plan. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people that I've talked to have said that coming back on Earth is one of the hardest places to come and learn lessons or to live your life through. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
yeah, it's also one of the most desired places to come as a soul.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I've had a lot of conversations with energetic channelers that channel specific energetic entities. So I think one of the most famous ones is Esther Hicks, who channels an entity called Abraham. Or there's someone very popular now, his name is Daryl Anka.
Yes, I would love to have him on my show.
Oh, he needs to come on your show. He'd be the perfect guest for you.
He is
Bashar.
I have watched so many podcast interviews with him. And I mean, he's predicting crazy things in 2027, which I think are all going to happen.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So it's these people that are specific channels for this type of energetic frequency out in the existence that I feel have taught me the most about this, a specific, thing about soul contracts and coming to Earth. Earth is such a desired classroom, not only because, we get the chance to evolve, but we get the chance to feel and smell and have matter. Like, yeah, we squeeze our energy down to such a low frequency that we actually condense into matter. Well, you mean we're not solid.
Yeah.
But I do feel that, when you talk to people, like you had a near-death experience, individual on.
Yes.
You talk to a lot of those people, and when you are in spirit, when you die, you just have one sense of peace and love. And while that sounds wonderful, all these entities are like, it gets a little boring. Like, it's just so perfect all the time. It's like, there's no depth, there's no nuance. So I think a lot of souls want to come to Earth, but and there are a lot of souls that haven't.
Yeah, Daryl is just so interesting. Where he's talking about we're gonna have alien contact in 2027. Everything that that comes out on him, I end up watching it. There's another guy named Lee Harris I don't know if you know who
I
he
love
is.
Lee Harris.
I love him too. And I'm going to start signing up for his like webinars or whatever he does, these online things, because he's pretty amazing too. And I just seen him do a live channeling and a Mayim breakdown podcast.
Oh, that was a great podcast. I watched that.
Yes, me too. I love her. I love all her guests that she has on.
No, I mean, yeah, no, that's a great platform for sure. But I do think, I think already extraterrestrials and to me, it's extraterrestrials for sure, but it's more the it's the interdimensional beings that intrigue me more, because I think it's that extra dimensional access, which explains a lot about ancient Egypt, which explains a lot about the existence of the Atlantean population. Mm-hmm. You have to understand something, and this is very high energy, but the Earth that we're sitting on right now, there's so many different dimensional layers to it. And it's all in existence in the eternal now. So while we want to think of time as linear, going from beginning, middle, and end. So in that aspect, my past lives are going on at this very moment as this life is going on in terms of linear time. And any other lifetimes I exist in that are at a future date in the human timeline. But not only is existence this way, it's this way too, right? It's like, it's in every direction. And
it's hard for people to comprehend that, I think, a lot of times.
It's almost impossible. Our minds just want to like explode.
Yeah. Because then I really start going out there once I start trying to like analyze it in my head and and then just like when I watch that interview like with Lee and he really kind of goes deep and talking about the trillions of galaxies and I'm just like, God, we're such a little speck in this whole thing. Like it's so crazy.
I always talk about Dr. Seuss's book, Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah.
Do you remember the elephant who picked up like the dandelion and there was a whole civilization, a whole world in that little dandelion? I honestly think that's the truth of existence.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere you look, there's life.
When you're doing your channeling, like what comes through for you?
Oh, at this point, it's gotten really strong. I think the whole energetic shift we referred to is affecting me personally greatly. So I channel more angelic energy, is how it would appear to me that the frequencies come through very angelic in nature in terms of the pantheon, or I guess pantheon's the wrong word, but the angelic, universe of archangels, as well as, ministry of angels, which are like the workers. So that's my primary guide. I definitely get some passed on loved ones that guide me, or more so for my clients. For my clients, I tend to get, ancestry that comes through.
Yeah.
I am very clairvoyant. My clairaudience has gone through the roof. And what I mean by that, clairvoyance is the ability that when you just see things in your mind's eye. Mm-hmm. It's not like I see things in front of me and I'm not seeing some sort of hallucination. It's just in my mind's eye, and I hear things. I actually am told things. It's in my own voice. It's as if I'm having a thought, but it's not my thought, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Okay, now back to the show. When I took my mediumship class, I did it for a year and a half. I think I was about 9 months into it. And I was in my bed, and I heard somebody yell my name as if the house was on fire.
Oh my God.
They're like, Zachary. And I woke up and I thought it was my husband. He wasn't home. I was home by myself. And I'm like, what happened? And when he got home, it was so clear. It was not a dream. It was like, it happened.
Yeah.
And then it happened again a couple weeks later. Not as harsh as saying my name, but somebody was saying my name. And I asked my medium teacher at the time, my mediumship teacher, and he says, this happens. It's common to happen when you're learning how to do mediumship. You have, your clairaudience and all these different things are going to start happening, because the same exact thing happened to me when I was first being taught, where you're going to have things are coming through to you.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't know how to process it yet, but we're going to teach you that. So I think it's so interesting. The other thing was when my mother-in-law died, I had like these 3 boxes I got from Amazon stacked neatly on top of each other in my bedroom. And I was thinking about her, and I'm just watching TV, and 2 of the boxes just fell over. And I'm just like, And I just felt her. And I at that moment, I was thinking of her. And at that same moment, it fell over. And I'm like, that's her. It's just, she's got something she needs to tell me. And I don't know what it is yet. Or maybe she's just like letting me know, hey, I'm here.
Well, I do think it's a very confirming, because she feels very strong.
Yeah.
Like, and like determined.
Yeah.
Was she stubborn, or was she kind of a soft woman?
She could be stubborn, yeah, and a little bit, but she was so loving and kind at the same time. So she was just an amazing person. So I couldn't have asked for a better mother-in-law.
I'm sorry for the loss for the whole family, especially your husband, her husband.
Yeah. I mean, it was a 4.5 year kind of not being great. So I think everybody was kind of relieved at the end. So it's
can help, but still it is so sad.
Yeah.
But when they want your attention, they will get your attention. And especially when you're exercising the muscle and you're starting to open yourself up to that.
Yeah.
The eagerness of like, oh my God, I have someone new I can communicate with. It's really, it can be a little overwhelming.
Would you ever want to try to get into the channeling like Daryl does or Lee does?
I have one guide that's really powerful for me. And that's been bantered. I know this sounds so strange. It's been bantered around, but I don't think so. For right now, I like how I work one-on-one with people. I'm very, very intentional about that. I mean, I have clients all over the world. My client list is vast, and that's very satisfying for me at this point. I do see that changing. I do, and I've been shown and told that that'll come, and what I choose to do with it will be up to me. But not yet. I'm not sure.
Okay. I want to get into your book, but I wanted to just ask you one more question. What's one of the most shocking things that maybe you have told a client where it blew them away? You probably have a million of those, actually.
Oh, wow. Yeah. The most powerful thing, moment, lesson, awareness that I've ever channeled for anybody was a woman who came to me completely broken. She was a shell of a human being, had been trying therapy, been trying everything. She had been in a very abusive relationship with a man that just beat the shit out of her. And then they ended up pregnant, and she was really happy because she thought, okay, now that we're going to have a baby, it'll be okay. He'll change, all the things that a victim of abuse can go through. Mm-hmm. Well, one day, unfortunately, he beat her up again, and she lost the baby. So the devastation of that, I think she was early second term, so she had enough time to really, really bond with this baby.
Yeah.
So she, long story short, she finally got, she left him. She got out of there. She got her own home. And she was a nurse, so she had a great career, but she couldn't break free. He still owned her, and the grief around the baby still owned her. So I was channeling for her, and the baby came to me.
Wow.
I'm probably going to cry because it's just so powerful. That baby lived a complete life. From the moment of its inception to the moment of its death, that was exactly the life it was supposed to live, because its purpose was to get her out of that relationship. It loved her so much that that's why it came.
Wow.
And it was so important that soul tell that to its mother. I loved you enough to exist to get you out.
And did that give her a sense of relief?
Zach, in 3 months, she was a totally different person. Because again, that understanding changed her entire frequency toward the event. As your frequency changes towards something, reality must shift to meet you there. It's universal law. So all of a sudden, she reached out to me 3 months later, and just to let me know, like, she was doing great. It was the most moving awareness. And this goes to, I don't know if you've ever looked into the work of Byron Katie, but it kind of goes into Byron Katie's work where when you love what is and don't try and figure out why or scream at the wind, why did this happen? Like that baby had a life and then it died. And it had such purpose. And that makes it a complete life and the ultimate act of love. You can't grieve that anymore. There's no loss. You had a complete experience with that soul. And it has changed my entire relationship with tragedy in my life.
I mean, you have to think about how amazing this gift you have, and you're able to do this for people. You've changed this whole woman's direction of her life with this reading. I mean, think of how amazing that gift that you shared with her is. Do you ever kind of think about that sometimes?
It's crazy. I mean, I'm just a regular old person,
But you're not, though, because she had a horrible, you said she was an empty shell. And this one time that you met with her, the whole direction of her life changed.
Yeah.
I mean, that must make you feel so amazing. At least I hope it does.
It's an incredible feeling. It's such a gift. And I'm the conduit, yes, I work at this. I really work at this. I connect, I meditate, I really connect to my higher self, to my guides. It's like I train, some people want to do a marathon. I train to keep my intuition strong and growing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I mean, the shifts I've allowed people to understand, as I told you, when we first spoke, maybe not, but my slogan for my work is my job is to put myself out of a job. Yeah. When my clients don't call me back, I know that's my highest compliment.
That's amazing. God, I mean, it's so great you found what you're supposed to be doing, I mean,
I know.
And randomly walking into that store and not ever having a reading also, I think it's
crazy. And
everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I bought my first tarot deck when I was 48 years old. I started my tarot business when I was 52. There's never a right, it's always right on time.
Yeah.
And you're never too old.
Yeah. And did you ever think you would be an author?
Oh my gosh, Zach, never. I still have a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that I'm an author. I still don't consider myself a writer. I still don't like writing, even though I've written 3 books. But yeah, never. It's incredible.
So let's talk about the 3rd book and you're doing 4 total, you said.
4 total. It's a 4-book series. Yeah. So it's a series you read in order. It's best read in order. You can read them independently, but you miss out on a lot of the story.
Yeah.
And the tagline for the series is sometimes happily ever after takes more than one lifetime. So it's a love story of souls traveling through all different lifetimes together, trying to get it right and trying to really find the lifetime where they can really finally actualize this beautiful soul connection that they have. And we all know what that feels like. We all know when we meet, quote unquote, our person and someone that we just can't, the connection is so strong. It's so powerful. It's so beautiful. And most of the time, soulmates don't come to be our greatest love. They come to be our greatest lesson. And soulmates come in all different forms, which is why in my books, there's a villain soulmate, and there's a best friend soulmate, and there's the lover soulmate. There's the mentor guide soulmate, because these are what soulmates actually do. But I tell it through the lens of past lives. So in this new book, the past life takes place in the Vatican in the late 1400s when St. Peter's Cathedral is starting to be built as we know it today. And the Inquisition is going on. And the heroine's soul, her soulmate is the Pope.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good soulmate.
Yeah, I know, right? And how they have this incredible connection and this incredible love for each other, but because of his vows and his devotion to his faith and his God, and that's really important to him, they can't actualize it in the flesh. So as you can see in these past lives, there's always something between them. So at the same time, I'm writing about their souls in modern day New York City, which is where I was born and raised. And you always want to write about what you know.
Yeah.
And, in the modern day lifetime, she's married. He's a widower. And we have to find out if at the end of book 4, they finally get it right. Will 2026, I guess, when the books end, or 27, finally allow these two souls to, ride off into the proverbial sunset.
And have you written book 4 or have an outline yet? Or you got?
No. I channeled all of this back during the pandemic. So I have it all created. It all lives inside of me. I just have to put dialogue to it.
Yeah.
But I have an outline, and I'm going to start writing the second week in June.
Wow.
Taking a little time off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love your whole path, though, just the not wanting kids, having the kids, doing tarot, being an author. It's like everything is falling. Like, you have a wonderful life now.
Yeah.
When you were, I don't know, when you were 35 and you were married and pregnant for the first time, did you ever think this is where you would end up?
Oh, gracious, no. Oh, gosh, no. No one could have scripted this for me. Nobody. There's not one person in my inner circle, or even in like the 3 circles outside of that ever would have said, oh, you watch, Kelly one day will become a tarot card reader.
And an author. And what do your kids think about it?
It's so funny. So when I started the tarot, they were like, okay, but they trust me and all, But, when we would have moments, because my kids, when I got divorced, my children were like 14 and 12 or 13 and 11, something like that. So we had a few years of them watching me build this business, which was great for them to witness. But their classic line is, Mom, don't go all tarot on me right now. They don't want anything to do with it, which is fine. I have 2 sons. I would never, ever channel
their... They don't ever want a reading or anything, ever?
No, they've asked me to look into some situations for them.
Okay.
But one thing is, I would never channel my children's energy without their permission.
Yeah.
Now, but when I started writing the books, because they saw me doing these past life readings during COVID, because we were all at home, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm channeling my past lives. And they're like, okay, you're crazy. And then when I wrote my first book, the look on their face, because I just got book 3 for the first time. I got the first actual copy of it, the also copy. And I showed it to them, and I can't tell you as a mother, and I will say, of all the things I've done in my life, and I've had an incredible life, very blessed, being a mother is the penultimate experience of my life.
Yeah.
I have loved every breath of my mothership journey. It's like, It's incredible. But to see their face and their pride in me, and they're just like, wow, Mom. Who knew? Like, this is so exciting. It means everything.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
How old are they now?
24 and 21.
Okay, cool. Good ages. They're
every
young
age,
adults.
Every age with those 2 has been a good age. There's not one age where I thought, oh my God, I'm so ready for this to end. It was challenging. It's work. But that was my job. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I threw myself into it with gusto. And God, I had fun.
Would you ever go back to New York?
No.
Yeah.
No, I love to visit. I love to go all the time. Thankfully, New York is so accessible. But no, I do feel though, Zach, I have a feeling I'll end up in the Northeast.
Really?
Yeah. When you're born and raised in the Northeast, it's just a part of you. And there's a certain quality to the Northeast, obviously a certain energy to it. So I have a feeling, but I think I'll come to New England rather than New York.
Yeah. Boston's great.
I know. I love Boston.
Come to Boston. Yeah. We've tried to leave the Northeast a few times, and we always end up back here. And, every time we go back to New York, we were just there this past week. And every time we're in New York, it's like, oh, this is where it always feels like home. I don't think we would live in New York again, just because I need more space than what I could afford there.
Right.
But it always feels like, okay, we're home.
Exactly. And what a good feeling that is. It's so nice to have that in the world.
Yeah.
I have that in a few places I've lived in my life, and it's nice to go and just be, you know the drill, you know your way around. It's very natural. It is. It's like going home.
And New York felt so much better this time than it has in my past. For some reason, there was a shift in the city energy or something where
I was there in March. I sensed the same thing. I was like, wow, she's coming back.
Yes, exactly. Because before that, I was like, oh God, I don't want to go to New York again. Because I'd go like 6 or 7 times a year. And this time we went and I'm like, oh wow, like I could live here again if I had, $50 million, I could live here.
Right.
So
yeah, for a 1-bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, like I need 4 bedrooms, and that's expensive in New York. But
that's very expensive in New York.
But yeah, there's a shift in the energy there, and who knows? Maybe one day we'll end up there again. Who knows? Never say never.
Well, you can always get a pied-à-terre.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we actually said. When we left, that's exactly what we said.
Fabulous place downtown, and just have it as a place to drop in and stay. That's definitely doable.
Yeah, totally. So your new book comes out June 9th.
Secrets of the Madonna.
And I will, there will be a link to pre-order this in the description of this podcast or video, however you're listening or watching this. Go and do it. I have both books. I think I do. I have both the books right here on my shelf. Well, actually yes, both of them are here. This is one, and one, if you're watching this on video, and then 2 is here. I have to say, when I first got them, my husband came into my nightstand and says, "What are these?" And I said, "Oh, I ordered these books. I interviewed this woman named Kelly, who I loved." And he's like, "Oh, what is it about?" And I gave him some details about what it was about. And I started the first one, and he said, I'm going to take this and read it. I said, okay. Took it. I didn't see it for a while. He took both of them at the same time. Read them both. Then my father-in-law got them. And he read them.
Oh my God, I'm so happy.
And I didn't get them back until we just went to New York this past weekend. I'm like, can I have my books back? And so I got them back, and I got to probably start over because I only got through maybe a quarter of the first book because everybody was taking them from me. So now they're sitting here in my podcast studio because I don't want to leave them downstairs.
You have to put anyone else to watch.
I don't want anybody else to take them. But they loved them.
So flattered, and please.
They gave them great reviews, and I mean, my husband loves to read, and if he didn't love them, he wouldn't have given them to his father to read. So,
well, that's a high compliment that I am very grateful for.
Yeah. So,
and you're sitting pretty because you can start them and enjoy them throughout the summer or whatever, and then go right into book 3, which is so nice instead of having to wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably. If I start reading them now, I'll probably be ready by the time 3 comes out. So
yeah, they're a quick read. They're just an easy read. They're fun, easy, fun read.
And my husband, when we watch a movie or read a book, the same one, he wants to discuss it. So he's like, "When are you going to read those? When are you going to read those?" So I'm like, I took them off the shelf, and I'll start them I'll start them tonight, and then he'll want to have a book club with just me and him. So
I love it. I love it so much.
I'm so happy that you came back on. Please come back on whenever book 4 is ready, and let's talk about it because.
Thank you.
And again, anybody listening, these are really Kelly is so amazing in so many ways, and I can't wait until you come out with the next one and June 9th.
Thank you so much. I adore you. I adore our conversations, and I'm so honored to be on your platform. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for coming on. Again, June 9th, go and pre-order now. Link is in the bio of this video or podcast description. So go and do it. And then come and leave a message and tell us what you thought about the book. That's what we really want to know. Like, what's your review? Tell us what you think about the characters. And if you need 1 or 2, I will put links to Kelly's Amazon profile so you can get books 1 and 2 to start with both of those first if you haven't already have those. So thanks again for being on, Kelly. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Zach.